going to invite us into a time of centering, of meditation or prayer. I'm going to invite you to find a comfortable position that allows your body to feel relaxed, not floppy, not tense, just that relaxed state of being. We're going to be exploring in this series the concepts of rage, grief, and goodness. And so we thought we'd begin this time exploring a feeling and emotion that's close to rage, which is anger. Now, if you're in a place in which spending some time dwelling on or exploring anger doesn't feel like the right choice for you this morning, I invite you to maybe hit mute or turn off your speakers for about 5 or 6 minutes and just enjoy some quiet space. I trust you to make the right choice for you and your space. But if you're willing to go on a little journey of understanding our anger, it's a work that we need to do collectively. So I invite you to take a breath and exhale, finding a rhythm. Getting mad or feeling anger is sometimes a dangerous feeling. But here in this space together, we affirm that all feelings are okay. Now, all behaviors are, of course, not, but all feelings are, even anger. And so this morning, if you bring anger with you, that is okay. It is okay to be angry. It's okay to be angry with yourself, with the world. It is okay to feel anger rise up within you as you think about what has happened or what might. Anger is a part of this human experience, and it is welcome here. Lama Owens says that anger is the mental and physical tension of having an emotional wound but not having figured out the right self care strategy to tend to its healing. It is in the gap between the wound and feeling secure in our self care that anger takes root. At the heart of anger is a wound. At the heart of anger is the desire to be healed, but a tension, a confusion about how to go about that healing. And it's okay to feel hurt and not know how to make it right or how to heal. It's actually pretty human, isn't it? And so today, we're going to practice dwelling in that tension, the stuff that forms our anger, searching for a spaciousness to learn from it and about it. For as Viktor Frankl writes, between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom, which means we will have to touch our anger, which can be scary and is definitely uncomfortable. But today, I'm going to invite you just to touch it, not to go deep and dive into it, but simply to touch it and to notice it, for we're just practicing together. So take a breath and ask yourself, where does anger live in my life right now? Where does anger live in my life right now? Where does it live in my body? Where does anger, where has it found its home in our life? And I'm going to invite you, if you feel so moved, to type your response in the chat, but don't submit it yet. Your response to that question, where does anger live in your life right now? Going to give you a few moments to type. because in a moment I'm going to invite us to hit submit at the same time. So we'll see a cascade of anger that just lives in our lives. All right. I invite you to hit submit so we can see. Mm, There's a lot to be angry about in this world, a lot of wounds, a lot of sadnesses, a lot of places that need healing. I'm going to invite you to pretend that this anger you're experiencing is an object. So imagine the anger that you've typed in the chat. Imagine it being an object. You can pick whatever object makes sense. And when you have that object, I want you to place it in the center of a large, spacious room. This room is so big, there's nothing else in this room but this one object. It's like a really large gallery. And the only thing in this big room is you and this object. Now, you can be as far away as you need to be. You don't need to be up close, you can be really far away. And as you stand or sit in the proximity of this object, which is this anger that you have, what do you notice? What do you notice about your body's response to being close to this object? What thoughts arrive in your mind as you look at this object? What hurt is behind the anger that you feel? What part of life that you have a passion for is connected to this anger that you hold? As you dwell in the proximity of your anger, notice the spaciousness that you have. You don't need to go close, you're simply in its presence, noticing. You don't have to react or do anything. Just simply sit and allow it to teach you something about its roots. If you're feeling moved, I invite you to share in the chat something you noticed about the anger when you stood in its proximity. Maybe about the hurt that was connected, the place it dwelled, or the passion for life that it kindled. That there's maybe fear, that it feels like a magnet, that it might be smaller than we thought, that it's not essential, that it's about fear and loss and regret, grief for innocence, that I feel powerless to help, that maybe it's a frustration with a wound that won't heal. There's a discomfort around unpredictable, unkind people, that I want a blanket, that I fear aloneness, that there's nothing that I can do about it. Invite us to return to our breath, breathing in and out. Going to move us into a time of reflective centering using music, a song that I know helps ground many of us when these feelings of helplessness and hurt arise. This meditation on breathing came out of the experience of September 11th. It's a way of transmuting the pain into a spaciousness that allows us to choose how we want to respond to the wounds that we feel and that are inevitable in this life.